You are listening to episode 247 of Game Deflators Podcast. My name's John, and I'm joined by Ryan.
Hey, everybody, here at the Game Deflators Podcast, we like to talk about games we've recently picked up, games we're currently playing, and we search for a reason not to leave Mario to his fate in this week's Inflation Deflation Challenge.
So this week we played some Mario is Missing on the Nintendo.
I would use
NES.
the term played lightly.
Yeah, that's true. We learned on the Nintendo. So yeah, we'll talk a little bit about Mario is Missing, an educational game on the Nintendo console, the original. And we'll get to that in our inflation deflation segment. But first, you can find us on the Game Deflators Podcast.com, which is not actually our website. It's thegameflators.com. But you can find the Game Deflators on thegameflators.com. You can find us on social media at The Game Deflators on Instagram and Facebook. You can find us at Game Deflators on X, because it's no longer Twitter, it's X. And of course, the podcast app you are listening to right now, go ahead and leave us a 5-star review. And I don't know, listen to us on another app too. See how you like that one.
I hope that there's a Racer X Twitter account and they're taking advantage of this situation right now in some way.
If there isn't, we should make it.
I'm going to look. There's got to be. Racer X is cool.
I would assume there is a Racer X Twitter account. There's almost a Twitter account for everything out there. I mean, an X account. What the hell? Dude, I don't get it. Like, what was up with that change? I need to read into it. Have you?
It still is like twitter.com, but it's got an X now.
Yeah,
because a million people own X, I guess. That's what I was reading. We don't have to understand it.
Yeah, we just
the link still works.
We post stuff on there. Just go on there. We post things. All right.
Do we have a Threads?
A Threads?
Yeah.
The hell's a Threads? Like,
oh, dude, come on. You're the marketing guy.
But dude, I mean, what the hell?
Threads is the Facebook version of Twitter that the Zuck launched that's linked to your Instagram.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Well, we'll have one. I mean, dude, that's not the type of marketing I usually do. Like, the people I market to are they're on LinkedIn. They're not on Twitter and Facebook. So yeah, that's my primary, and they're in educational publications and stuff. So totally different audience, but I will look at Threads and we will see what this is and why I need to spend more of my time on my phone. All right, pickups. Dungeons and Dragons, Bedlam, and Neverwinter board games. So I got that as a birthday present from our good friend Joel and Jenny.
Is that like another big box with a bunch of pieces in it?
Well, so I did get the big box.
Rule book?
Kind of. So this to me feels like Clue, but D&D style, and it has 3 acts that you're supposed to go through, and each of those acts is 90 minutes, apparently, like estimated gameplay time. I haven't dove into it. I just kind of opened up the box. It's got some minifigures in there, which is kind of cool, and which means I kind of want to paint them because it makes sense to paint them, even though they're like all different colors, unless the rules specifically state like, oh, this character should be red, this one's yellow, etc. I might do like if I do paint them, I'll do like some coloring that is kind of obvious, right? Like, oh, they have a yellow shirt, right? So you would know that character's yellow, or they have a red.
Yeah, I think they just give you minifigures and you can paint them.
I don't know. They're colored, man. So it's like, it could be, I don't know. I need to read the rule book. Yeah,
paint the whole person and just leave the base.
No, because I want to put them on a little black base and all that, and we'll see. I'll let you know. I'm not sure.
You could paint the rim of the base.
Ah, good point. I could paint the rim of the base. We'll see. I will let you know.
Gotcha, boy.
Maybe red is a lava base and a blue is an ice base. You see what we're doing here, Ryan? All right. So I got that. I also picked up some magic cards. So just to kind of continue my thing, I looked ahead, and we're going to talk about this a little later, right? But I looked ahead at some of the sets coming out, and knowing what was in particular sets when they came out originally. There's a few remastered sets that are going to come out, like Ravnica Remastered, which I imagine maybe will be, I don't know if it'll be modern or what, but there are certain cards that'll be re-released that are very compatible with what I'm buying right now in standard. So looking ahead, I'm like, okay, knowing that's going to be out, I think this could be a combo down the road. So let me spec a little bit. So I've been doing some spec buys. Some of them I've actually hit on slightly. Like I bought a card the other day that was like 60 cents a piece and it shot up to like $3. So not too
Did you
bad.
sell now?
No, I'm going to use it. So that's why I bought it. I was intending on using it and then it shot up in value. So that's pretty cool. That was it for pickups. I didn't have any video games that came in. Oh no, you know what I did do? I pre-ordered. Let me look up the name of it here. I think I showed it to you. I think it's this one.
I don't think we talked about it. There was some game.
There's a D&D 5e campaign setting that is. I might have already talked about this.
Oh, the one that you sent me this week that you did the Kickstarter for. Yeah. Kickstarter.
Yeah. So it's supposed to be like a mix of Studio Ghibli meets Legend of Zelda in terms of like visuals and artwork and whatnot. And you're on this island called Obojima. And so the whole campaign setting is on Obojima. And it deals with like spirits and magic and potions and all this other stuff. It comes out September of 2024. It just launched on Kickstarter like 5 days ago, and it's already up to like $800 and something thousand on their Kickstarter. Like it's ridiculous, dude, how much money that they've gotten this. So I ordered the hardcover with a free PDF that comes with it. So I don't know, if you're interested in it or Joel's interested in, I may, give you guys a copy of PDF. Maybe I'll just print the PDF. I don't know. So that's what I've
get it bound.
Yeah. Oh, maybe I can get it rebound. Yeah. So I did pick up that. So I don't know, man. I'm kind of like, I want to do Dark Souls with you guys after Strixhaven. Like I'm thinking that's what I want to do, but I don't know how long that's going to be. And that's going to be a pretty deep homebrew with a lot of lore tied to Dark Souls. The other component is Obojima. And I imagine I'll be done with Strixhaven in September of 2024. So yeah, I'm not sure yet what I want to do, but like both seem very appealing to me. The other option, of course, is just to go back to one of the pre-made campaigns that Wizards has released in 5e, like a Dungeon of the Mad Mage or whatever, and play through that. But then again, we have Joel playing, and he usually reads all of these books in advance, so I kind of feel like I need to play something that he hasn't read yet. So he's a little more surprised. So I don't know. We'll see. And then as far as currently playing, I did boot up White Knight Chronicles again just to play a little bit. Got to my next area, which was the Underbelly of Greed. So essentially needed to find a little rabbit dude that looks like they're copying from Final Fantasy 11. It's almost like straight, did you copy my homework situation for Final Fantasy 11, these little rabbit characters. And I got to Underbelly of Greed. I haven't gone through and done anything yet, but I know it's a dungeon and I got to go through and clear out monsters. So that way we can get a bridge across to a cavern that I need to go to, which will ultimately have more monsters. So that's where we are with that game. It's about, same place I was before for the most part. I did play a little bit more Returnal. This game is hard as hell, dude. I could see why it's only like 5% of players actually complete this game.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see why. So yeah, you have those biomes like I talked about, right? And I was like, man, I had such a tough time getting through this like first boss, right? It was so difficult. Well, guess what? Even if you get to the second area of the game and you go ahead and die and you come back, you have to play the other boss again, the first boss, which is just, it's so hard to get to that one to begin with, let alone get to the second one and defeat the second one.
Have you never played a roguelike before?
I have,
they all
but
work.
like I have, but this is fucking hard, dude. Like this is a hard game. So, it's one thing if like the locations kind of stay the same and monsters are kind of similar. This is like every single area changes, it's different. Sometimes you're going against like these easy peasy monsters and you can upgrade your weapons. You're like, oh yeah, we're all good. Then other times you're like maybe 3 doors in with a pistol in hand, and here's a giant ass boss that's going to kill you and shoot a bunch of beams at you while 5 other creatures attack you at the same time. And you have no health left and you die.
Yeah.
Like that's
Get good at dodging and using your laser sword or something. I don't know.
I have been. It's hard, dude. It's a hard game. So I don't know if I'll beat this one. Like I want to really
I
bad.
mean,
Like
it's a long burn. Like these are supposed to be long burns. Like you just have to focus on getting the next permanent upgrade
yeah.
and then just play for good runs. I mean, this is how like these kind of games work. You get a lot of bad runs and you get some good runs, and you got to just make the most of all those good runs and stack what you can.
Yeah, I will say it is kind of nice the suspend cycle aspect. So, if the baby's sleeping and I'm like, oh, okay, like I got maybe 30 minutes in me to start a run, I can pause it and I can go take care of the baby and stuff. So that's actually a really cool component of this game that I'm excited about. And
I mean, most games you could just pause.
not really. I mean, if you think about the games that I play, so if I'm playing a PS1 RPG, there's not exactly a pause point on a PS1 RPG, which is
Oh,
why when I was playing,
well, I mean, there is the way I play them.
okay, you'd leave the console on all day.
No, I have preservation devices.
Oh, yeah. See, I don't use preservation devices because I have a lot of items that are for preservation purposes on a shelf. So, yeah, like when I was playing Cardia, if I started a battle and a baby was crying, I had to turn it off. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't finish a battle. Like I would just have to start from scratch, whatever scene that was. So, yeah, it's not as easy without a preservation device. So I can appreciate the preservation devices.
Mhm.
And then the other thing I've been playing is, of course, Magic: The Gathering Arena. Doing my dailies on that, which is always fun. Exploring new decks, learning about new cards. And yeah, I'm at Platinum again, which is good. They started me on Silver rank 1, so I really just had to get through Gold rank for the most part. And then I'm in Platinum, so no big deal. Platinum is, of course, much harder because you're playing against better players that are in
Is there
Platinum.
like a diamond above that or something?
Yep, there is a diamond and then there's a mythic. The issue with when you get to these areas is when you hit platinum, each win only gives you one little thing. So in the earlier ones, like gold and below, if you win, you get like basically you have to win. I think it's 4 total matches in gold. If you win 4 total matches, you get 2 little notches, right? Or 2. If you win a match, you get 2 notches. If you lose a match, you lose 1 notch. You got to get 8 total to move on to the next tier. In platinum, a win only gets you 1 of those. So at least in gold, you're like, okay, I can win a match. Oh, if I lose one, it's okay, because if I win another one, I go up 2. So you're kind of adding 1 for every loss and win, right? You can go 50-50 and make your way through. Once you have platinum, you have to have at least like a 70% win rate, it feels like, or 80% win rate to get to the next tier in platinum. Like I'm stuck on platinum 4. I'm probably 3 notches in. But what ends up happening is I'll win 3 in a row, and then I'll lose 2 in a row, win 2 in a row, lose 2 in a row, and so on. It's just back
just
and
nothing
forth.
happens.
Nothing happens. You get stuck, which is fine. Like if I got stuck in platinum forever, the difference is 2 extra bonus packs. So, I mean, I'm already locked in for like 4 booster packs during the 30-day period. So even if I keep playing and losing, I'm coming across more decks that'll kind of prep me for in-person Magic. And I'm gaining experience and gold and all that stuff as I do dailies. So that's kind of what it comes down to.
The default icon and like board pet?
Yeah, pretty much. I haven't bought any other board pets. I've got a
That's how
Chandra.
Drew is.
I've got Chandra as my icon. Yeah, I'm not worried about it. Like if it came across with like a Shiok, like, and I've seen people with a Shiok, which is disappointing that I can't buy her. That's really what I would go for if I was to buy an icon on there. But other than that, no, I'm all good. I play with people I know. I've got 3 friends on there to play, so I just kind of jump in and play with them every now and then. And that's it. So I'm just collecting gold for the newest set. When a newest set comes out, I am going to dump all the gold I've collected over the next like 20 days and just buy a crap ton of packs. So I'm ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's happening.
Cool.
How about yourself?
I didn't pick up anything, as is tradition. And I've been playing more Final Fantasy IX. Actually, I beat the first disc.
Oh.
And then I ran into a conundrum because I only preserved the first disc. I didn't preserve the rest of them. And I was like, okay, well, now I'll go in and preserve the second disc. And then once I've done that, I'll just make the change. And I was like, how does one do a digital disc change? And I had to strokey beard for a while and do some Googling. And then I learned that I had to format it in a different way so that they were all in the same thing. And then there's a menu prompt to go in and do it. And it worked. And I'm like, cool. So now I'm in the second disc.
Nice. So I could assume that you did not play Darkness or Pikmin.
Nope. Is it on the can you see the outline?
I do see outline, Ryan.
Did you see those words on there?
I'm saying for conversation purposes, for those that don't know that we have an outline.
No, yeah. I've only been playing Final Fantasy 9.
Gotcha.
It's pretty good, actually. So I don't remember how far I got originally. I still think I've gotten further in this game once before, but I'm probably getting pretty close. So the story so far has got to be like one of my favorite Final Fantasies that I've played, for sure. Like, I played 12 and I was never into like what they were doing and talking about. Like, it just never was that great for me. And I mean, 7's pretty good too. I really like 10, but I never beat 10. I'm planning to make this probably the first Final Fantasy game I've beaten since like Tactics Advance.
Damn. And Tactics Advance is a good game too for nobody that's played it, or anybody that hasn't played it. I still need to beat Final Fantasy 9. I think I got to disc 2 years ago and I just kind of put it down and never played it again. So, you know, if this is one that you're like, yeah, I need to play this through because it's a good story, good game, I may jump on that bandwagon. I still got to do that with what's it called? Mystical Ninja game. What is it?
Goemon?
No, not Mystical Ninja. What's the one that you were playing that you got stuck?
Oh, Brave Fencer Musashi.
Yeah, Brave Fencer Musashi. I don't know why I thought Mystical Ninja. I mean, they're kind of the same. So
okay,
cool.
I'm at the part where they're at Clara's trunk after they went to Burmecia and it was all destroyed by the mages. And I like how the story like really diverges, and it's like you follow different characters at different parts, and then it's got this system where, you know, it'll have this active time event and you just hit select and it'll take you and show you like a cutscene of like what's going on with other people, you know, somewhere else. So, you know, sometimes you'll be with like just this half of the party, or like right now the party's split. So you've got like Garnet and Steiner, and then you've got Freya and Vivi and Quina and Zidane out doing their thing. And it's kind of like Lord of the Rings-esque in that way, where, you know, they were one group, but they haven't really all been one group. Like, they picked up some new people and split off, and old people have come back into the picture that they thought were lost. So like, it's very, I don't know. I appreciate the story a lot more now than when I tried renting it when I was younger, because I just thought it like looked cool or whatever, and it had awesome cutscenes.
And that's probably where my lack of appreciation for it comes through, because I did play it when I was much younger. And it's kind of a downside, right? When you think about the games that you played when you were 12 years old, 10 years old, whatever it may be, in that some of them had some pretty deep stories. Like Chrono Trigger is a good example. If I played Chrono Trigger again right now, I'd probably think it's the best game in the world.
Yeah.
But I already beat it years ago, and in my opinion, it was okay, right? Chrono Cross, I loved, right? But for me, back then, at my age, story probably wasn't as big of a factor. It was more so the gameplay and the graphics, right?
Yeah.
So I would probably look at that and say, well, I prefer Chrono Cross over Trigger because of XYZ, when nowadays it might be reversed, right? So yeah, it's kind of interesting to look at it in that lens, and that you're playing it again and saying like, I can appreciate it more than I did back then. So good reason to replay games. All right, let's look at our discussion topic for the week. You tossed this over my way. And as we kind of talked before the podcast, it makes a lot of sense, actually. So the Switch 2 is going to be making everything old new again. So we're going to talk about what we may be able to do with all of these ports that could come down the road.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've been doing my speculating on the Switch 2 for a bit. I've been leaving comments on all my favorite YouTubers who are talking about the Switch 2, trying to press my idea out there into the world. And see if I can maybe predict the future. I don't know. I predicted the Nintendo Switch back in like 2009. Ask my friends about it. But the
Trust me, bro.
no, seriously. I came up with I was thinking about Metroid Prime and the Nintendo Wii. And I was like, what if you just put like a screen on the side of the Wii, and then like it's not that big of a console. You could put like the buttons like into the case, and then if you just put the sensor bar like on top of it, like you could just like look through Metroid Prime like a window. And I sketched it all out in like a notebook and everything, like way back in 2009. And
Time to
bam,
sue
the
Nintendo,
future.
Ryan. Sue
I know.
Nintendo.
I
Yeah.
know. They're dream stealers.
They were stealing your dream for sure.
So anyways, my new prediction for the Switch 2 is that you'll be able to take the Joy-Cons off and also lock them on the top and bottom of the console, making it a vertical screen so that they could port over like all the mobile games basically, because they would have that aspect ratio.
I would say that's a fair prediction, to be able to have like a vertical screen for mobile style video games.
And
that
it just makes it that much different. Like
Well-
it's an iPad at that point.
And how would that hurt Nintendo, right? Like, it wouldn't, if you think about it. Like, if games are being ported from a mobile device over to a Nintendo Switch, that's just more sales.
Well, and Nintendo has like wildly popular mobile titles, and they're trying to expand into that. So why not be able to put those on their own console as well as on phones?
Yeah. Less money that they have to pay out to like Apple and Google.
Well, or both, you know? They could do
Yeah.
everything. Like that's the thing.
Sure.
And then I was listening to an Arlo video. If you guys don't know Arlo, he's great. He's like a puppet that talks about video games. He's awesome.
Never
But
heard of them.
he was talking about his prediction for the Switch 2, like when it was coming out, because of all these like rumors of the dev kits and stuff being in hands and everything now. So like everybody's pretty sure it's going to be 2024, just when in 2024. And so
Spring.
yeah, when he was talking about the reasons like for Switch 2, he said something that I had never even really considered up to this point. And that's that, yeah, people are saying it's probably going to be as strong as the PS4. And I'm like, cool, that'll be like a lot better. Like maybe they'll do like patches for Tears of the Kingdom so that it runs like buttery smooth and is like, you know, maybe a little enhanced or something. But then he was like, if it's as strong as a PS4, like with how many things have already been ported over to the Switch, like what will they be able to put on there? Like everything anybody could ever want is in the PS4 generation. And if they don't have to make those compromises to try to bring them over to the Switch so that they do like cloud versions or whatever, if they could just bring those games over and you could play like Elden Ring on the Switch too, like, oh my God, like absolutely yes. For like $300-400, count me in, and I won't have to like mess around with it like I would if I got a Steam Deck for $550. Like, sign me up.
The only downside, I think, is that you and I both know how Nintendo would function on that, and all those games would be released at full price.
Screw it.
But here's my thing.
I already only own Elden Ring digitally on Xbox. I would definitely buy a cartridge of it for Switch 2 that's already got like all the patches and everything, and it'll just be like, boom, I can always put that in Switch 2 and play it for the rest of my life. Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's assuming that it's on the cartridge phone. You don't have to you don't download it directly. Like
yeah,
they
but
do some
Nintendo's
games.
going to make so much money off of selling cartridges like for it still.
Absolutely.
Like they're the only ones who are probably going to keep like physical media going in the future because they always make money off the cartridges because they're like the cartridge people too.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. And I agree with you. Like it makes sense for Nintendo to do that. I think from a gamer perspective, if you had to choose between a new Switch and buying the games at full price or buying like a PS4 Pro, for example, at like $150 at the time, because it's probably about what it would be. So like $150 for a used PS4 Pro and then getting like Elden Ring for $15 and another game for like $10. Is it worth it at that point in time to say, yeah, I'll play it on Nintendo Switch
Yeah,
too?
but in like 15 years, which one of those are you going to be able to like boot up fresh and like have a better experience with.
I mean, it
The one
depends
that
on.
you can't get like the patches for anymore because those servers have been down, or the one that's just all on the cartridge that you can play in your space car while it flies you to work.
Space car. That's another prediction. Well, I don't need to. I work at home, so it works out for me. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I totally do, and I think it's a viable option for most people. I just think if like finances are a major factor here, the PS4, an original PS4 or Pro,
Yeah, but
with those
everybody's already
games,
got one of those that wants one.
maybe. I mean, it just depends. Not everybody has a PS4.
I mean, most people like we're several years into the 5 now. Like, do they even sell new PS4s anymore?
No, they don't. But people still pick them up used.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a dead console. People buy them
Well, I
all
mean,
the
they're still
time.
releasing games for it technically.
Yeah. So,
And that's
I
the
mean,
thing too. Like, they're still releasing PS4 games now. So, like, if they get this out like right at the tail end of that, maybe you see like something that's on the PS5 that's also on the Switch too, and it's like, okay, well, now where's the line?
yeah, I mean, you're going to get a lower quality version, obviously, on that. But yeah, I mean, that'll be a problem, right? You'll only see like certain releases are going to be on Nintendo's newer console versus the PS5, whatever comes out down the road. So, yeah, it's obviously something that I think is a very valid prediction as to what is going to happen and what will happen with that newest Switch console. I mean, we did see it with the Nintendo Switch with things like Dark Souls remastered, right? So like there's games that have already had that occur for it, where you've got this like backwards port in a sense that goes onto that console. So
Yeah, I wonder if we'll have like, I know people talk about like, okay, the Series X and S have to have parity, and that's going to hold some things back. Like, it's holding back the Baldur's Gate release. So if the Series S is a lot more like, a souped up PS4 Pro than a PS5, then that kind of puts it a little bit closer to what the Switch 2 is kind of going to be like. So maybe they'll have kind of like, here's the high end set of options for games for PS5 and Series X. Here's the mid for the Series S, and then here's like the low tier for the Switch 2. But basically they're all kind of in the same realm, but just like very tiered in case of like how many NPCs are present, how good is the lighting, what's the quality, and just kind of tier those things up. I don't know how all this stuff works. That's why I watch YouTube about it.
yeah, I mean, I don't dive into it too much myself, but I mean, it makes sense on the outside looking in that if you're creating games, you're going to have different tiers on different consoles that are released. And like you said, there has to be some. Microsoft requires parity, right, on their console, which is why Baldur's Gate is kind of a pseudo exclusive right now on the PS5 console wise. So we'll see down the road what happens here. There is a lot to come with Nintendo's new console whenever it does get released. And we're going to see if Ryan's prediction holds true.
Hopefully we only need to speculate for like another 6 months. Hopefully before like May next year, we actually have some like information, or I guess maybe going into June when we would normally have E3.
Yeah.
Like probably looking at a summer direct there where maybe they'll announce it, unless they decide to be like balls to the wall and drop it in March.
I mean, I think we'll hear about something in September. That's when I
Next
think
month?
we'll hear. Yeah.
Okay.
That would be that's my guess. So we'll hear something in September with it either being announced for a March release or a November 2024 release.
Mm-hmm.
Just before the holiday season. That'd be my guess. But Nintendo, it seems, usually releases in springtime. That's why I'm still kind of holding to spring as that option, because that would still give 6 months to get everything kind of ready, marketed, and good to go.
Mm-hmm.
So I think September is when we hear an announcement.
All right.
Cool. All right. Let's dive into some news this week. So the first thing here is Call of Duty is now flagging cheaters in the kill feed in a real time. And this was Ashley Barton, at Kotaku. So
This is great.
essentially Affinity Ward has had some form of like anti-cheating in place already for Call of Duty, and it's in a form of like they might have like fake bots and fake characters that come up on screen, or they steal guns from the person cheating. But what they've gone ahead and done now is instituted you know in a sense a feature within the game online that when somebody is cheating, it essentially reveals that cheater to the kill lobby, and it's like, hey, we've removed X cheater from the game, and it comes through and lets you know. So a lot of people like this because, well, I mean, why wouldn't they, right? There's an aspect of somebody's cheating and there's an unfair advantage going through, and that's being stopped, which is fair.
I hope it gives you a chance, like when you get out of the game, to like ban those people or
I
like
would imagine
block them or
I would
whatever.
imagine they're. I don't think it noted in there, but like I would imagine they should automatically just ban those individuals, like
Well,
they would
like you should be
standard.
able to go in and like block them from being able to like be in your lobby or something
Well, if
once
the
you
lobbies,
identify them.
well, if they're public lobbies set up by Infinity Ward, right, or Activision, in that case, like they wouldn't be able to enter anyways because they're banned. They can't play the game.
Yeah, but maybe
So
they get a week ban. You don't ever want to play with that person again. You should be able to be like block this person.
yeah, I mean, technically could, I guess. Like you can block people in Apex Legends, I believe, from playing. So yeah, I get it. That'd be pretty cool if that's featured in there. The downside though is people see it as a security risk because
Ugh.
obviously if you're on PC and you're playing a game and that game is able to, kind of tell what you're doing on your end within the game, there are security risks that are, a concern for a lot of gamers as well. So I guess my question
Yeah,
to
they're
you,
concerned because they're cheating.
no, that's not true. You could be a good player, but you don't want the system or the game to be able to recognize certain things that you're doing on your PC because that is, in fact, a security risk. Like, I don't cheat in games, but I don't know that I would want, Infinity Ward to have access to certain things within my PC that would allow them to see, like, what am I doing with my mouse? What am I doing with my keyboard? Stuff like that. So it's more so a risk. It's not saying that it's happening, it's just a risk that could happen. And so, I can understand where people are coming from in that respect. So my question to you is, if let's just say the probability is moderate that there could be some sort of security breach that happens from this program as you're playing the game, is it worth it if you're a gamer to deal with cheating, or does it make sense to just report cheaters and allow them to look into that cheater and do a potential ban based on that? Like, yeah, you're going to have the unfair aspect, but if you have the ability to block a certain player and report said player to where they may not be able to play again under that account, is that worth it, versus a security risk and an automated process? You get what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't care. I don't have any sympathy for the cheaters. They could just get banned.
They're going to get banned regardless in that scenario. It's just more so like, is it an automated process that you prefer or a manual process?
I don't know. I think that it's like you can't ever trust a company. So,
No.
I mean, giving them access to anything always sucks, but like if you're talking about getting rid of cheaters in like an effective way, this definitely works. And if you don't want that kind of stuff in your Call of Duty, then play a different Call of Duty that doesn't have that stuff in it.
Yeah. Or just
Like
don't play Call of
play on
Duty.
console.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
I just like if you don't want cheaters in the game and you want the game to be super safe, develop a new way to do it and pitch it at them. I don't know. This seems like a system that is functioning and people seem to say that it's a pretty big win. So I mean, like the portion of people that are cheaters and the portion of people that really can like care about that level of security access, like I don't know. You can't make everybody happy.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, then let's talk about your favorite game. So, the weirdest console with the worst Resident Evil 4 port is getting emulated. And Ryan, I think you need to experience this for us. You need to
Well,
play this emulated version of Resident Evil 4 on the Zebo. So, this is Zach Zwiesen at Kotaku.
Yeah, so it seems like this is still quite a ways out. I had never heard of this, so I watched a video on YouTube by, who was it? Stop Skeletons from Fighting. He did like a post-mortem on the console, and so I guess it is from Brazil, and there was so much like rampant, you know, selling of illegal gray market games and stuff there, because I guess the import taxes are crazy high. So you need to be like pretty well to do to afford video games down in the old Brazil. And that's why I guess, you know, like old Sega systems have been like so popular for so long. And so this was a way to combat that. It's basically like a souped up phone as a console, so that you have to buy everything through the network. It's all digital. No going on the street and buying, you know, some bootleg copy of, you know, Pokemon Gray for the Super Nintendo or anything like that. So, yeah, somebody is working to put that console into emulation now. So, I guess it'll be an interesting thing. Like they say in the article, it's nice that somebody's doing that work. I mean, as much as we talk about game preservation as a joke, and as much as it is a big concern that was recently brought up when the Video Game History Foundation did that study. You know, this is not something that people ever probably would have thought of, but somebody did, and somebody's putting in the work. So, you know, shout outs to that person.
Yeah,
Who
actually,
is it? It's in here
I
somewhere.
I actually reached out to Barry of a premium edition, and yeah, he was like, "It's definitely an interesting console for sure." I was like, "That's right up his alley in terms of like weird gaming stuff that's out there in history." Tuxality, gotcha. But I mean, Ryan, the key thing here is that there is a version of Resident Evil 4 on this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have to play it.
I mean,
We have to get you access to one of these consoles so you can play it, or to emulation.
Well, the emulation isn't even going to be released publicly for another year or so, and that's probably one of the higher end games, so they'll have to break that down too, probably. So I'm guessing that we're years out from this happening.
All I know is when it's out, you have to play it.
All right,
it's Resident Evil 4. You've played what, every single Resident Evil 4 version out there, right?
No.
Well, I think that's a goal.
I haven't played the PC version or the PS2 version.
You've played the PS2 version of Resident Evil 4?
I don't think so.
Haven't you? No?
So.
Oh.
I don't think I played the... Is there a 360 version?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Yeah. But
I have the GameCube, the Wii, and the PS4 version.
Well, then this sounds
I don't
like
even
a
own
new
it
game's,
on Switch.
This sounds like a new game's resolution in the making.
I don't think so.
Oh, I think so. I think so. Zeebo, PS2, birth control thing, or baby
it's
test,
not
whatever
Doom.
it is. No, it's not Doom. I mean, at some point it will be. Play it on your microwave. Okay. You know what we're going to do? We're going to get a new fridge in my house. I will buy one that has a screen on the front that kind of tells you what's happening a day, and I'm going to hack it so it can play Resident Evil 4 and be like, Ryan, have you played Resident Evil 4 on the Samsung? You're going to be so confused. I'm be like, no, you have to come to my house. And you're going to be both shocked and appalled at a port onto a Samsung fridge.
I'm sure I will be.
Yeah. Okay. Let's dive into some Magic the Gathering.
Speaking of shocked and appalled.
Oh, yeah, I know, right? So Magic the Gathering is crossing over Fallout, Final Fantasy, and more. This is Game Rant Dalton Cooper. I am like so disappointed here. Like, I get why they're doing it, because you don't want things to stay stale.
Those are
right?
easy marks.
Yeah, that's all it really is. And of course, it's not going to be like Magic the Gathering, Final Fantasy, and like that's how it's released. Like March of the Machines, I think, is based off of whatchamacallit, that stupid game, that battle royale shooter, Fortnite. It's based off Fortnite, I believe, if I recall. So like they have these crossovers that have been happening for a while. Like there's a Street Fighter, there's Walking Dead. They do all these crossovers. I don't know if these are like standard sets, if they're going to be
talk about it a tiny bit in here.
I know, like that some are going to be Commander.
Yeah, so the Fallout various factions will be featured in commander decks. So that's getting kind of like the 40k treatment, I'm guessing. Like you'll probably have like a Vault Dweller one and a Super Mutant one and
Ghouls,
Ghouls one, and then like maybe like
humans.
no, like they'll have like the RNC or the I forget who the bad guys are.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So they'll probably do like 4 commander decks that do that. And then it says Magic will cross over with Final Fantasy. And it was confirmed that Final Fantasy cards will be usable with Magic the Gathering Arena. And they will have all main series Final Fantasy games represented. So I was wondering how they would be doing that one. But I would love to see, and I'm sure that it'll happen because the secret layer drops are also out of control. Like I even stopped looking. I've only bought one secret layer thing, and so I never got into that as much as I thought I would. So I'm glad I didn't because there's just so many. But I would love to see like some 8-bit like black mage, fighter, white mage, thief cards. That would be
Yeah, I
sick.
mean, I think it'll be pretty cool in general, but it is getting a little out of hand, right? Like the originality aspects here.
Well,
Um,
it's so stupid how they announced this. Like they are just like grasping at these straws. Like they're just like, what can we bring in now? And it's like, oh yeah, Fallout and Final Fantasy. Like those are easy marks.
you know what they should be doing is bringing in much older stuff and older aspects of the game, right? Like you had banding, you had what do you call it? Shadow, like different features like that from years and years ago that in today's game, I think they would be popular and fun, right? To dive into some of the old. And they haven't been doing anything like that. They've been going through like Innistrad and bringing out cards from that and the Phyrexians. And I love the Phyrexians by all means. I love that completely. And the poison counters and all that. That's one of my favorite parts of Magic when it first came out. But there's so many cool things that came out years ago. Like if you were to refresh the old Nicobolas card, and I don't know if he's on reserve list. I doubt he is. But if you were to refresh cards like that and just have like crazy cool, like fun stuff that would be in Legacy back then and bring it into Standard, I think it'd be pretty cool. Because like Standard, you have to kind of play off of things, right? So like if you brought in like, I'd say Dream Halls, right? It's an older card I used to love playing. What can you bring in that would like counteract that? But what could you do with that type? Like there's a lot of things I think that could be done with older cards. And some of those older cards are not exactly like super strong either.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of older cards that are actually fairly weak or, not too big. But if you brought in like those, even like original characters from back then, right? Like older Magic characters and just bring out those sets. I would love to see like a new Stronghold, for example. Something tied to that world would be pretty badass. But yeah, I mean, that's just kind of where we're at, right? Like jumping into the pop culture component of what is popular. And it's okay. It's not my favorite, but I think they could be doing better.
Yeah. And I mean, what's with them announcing this out so far ahead of time? Like it seems like they got that Final Fantasy partnership and they were like, okay, that'll happen in 2025. What else could we do in 2025? And then they were like, I don't know, just throw out a bunch of code names and then
Yeah,
also make up some code names for 2026. And then they're like, we announced everything all the way through 2026. It's like, no, you didn't, man. You said some things were going to happen sometime during 2025. You
It's like,
announced
hey,
everything through the end of next year is what you did.
How do we get people excited? Okay, well, we're going to announce a bunch of stuff for 2026. Yeah, but we don't know what we're doing. Just throw some code words out there. They'll think that we did. Like, so you have tennis and wrestling and like baseball and other crap and golf, I think is a code word. I don't know. It's stupid. There's like 8 different code words on there. Does it mean it's going to be that? I don't know. Maybe we're going to WWE crossover of Magic the Gathering where The Rock is going to be your commander. I have no idea.
I summoned John Cena.
What? I can't see that card.
Yeah, he's got What's the one where they come in like invisible?
Oh, he like phases out or whatever, or he's hexproof. Like you can't see him because he's hexproof. Yeah, when John Cena enters the field, all other John Cenas in the field have hexproof. So or Shroud, something along those lines. Shroud, you can't see him. So yeah, it is what it is, man. It's Magic is kind of it's gone very mainstream, which is okay. But at the same time, it kind of sucks.
Yeah,
so.
They definitely jumped the shark. WotC and Hasbro, they're just being greedy. Like,
Yeah.
I was talking to John before we even started. He was asking me about going and play in standard, and I'm like, dude, I'll do draft and pre-release, but like that's as far as I'm taking my relationship with Magic at this point. Like, it's fun to go out and do that, but
when we do drafts, I need to just buy your draft cards just so I don't have to buy them offline. Wait. All right. Inflation deflation time. So we played Mario is Missing on the NES. This was developed by Software Toolworks. It was published by V Software Toolworks, designed by Andrew Iverson and Henrik Markarian. It was released in July of 1993. We should have played this in July. It is an educational game. Reception is a 4 to 8 out of 10, roughly. And you said on here, I don't understand.
I don't.
Okay. So synopsis is Bowser has kidnapped Mario and locked him somewhere in his giant castle in Antarctica. So it's up to Luigi and Yoshi to find him. And how do you do this? Well, you travel the world and you go to different countries as Luigi where you ask people clues, and those people will say, oh, I really like pasta. And for some reason you find yourself in Rome all of a sudden because, well, you like pasta. And when you know that clue, you can use Yoshi in this weird globe looking map of the entire world. And then you somehow end up in Rome and Luigi can hop on you. And then you can start destroying Koopas, capturing artifacts for people within these countries and returning them for additional information.
You don't need
to be able to help find Mario. No, you don't need Yoshi, but Yoshi's kind of nice. So he's faster and it's Yoshi. So how do you find
that much faster?
I don't know. I'm just saying stuff. So you get Yoshi and it's fun. So
it's not fun.
It is not really fun. No, it is purely educational, but it is kind of cool when you go to those information desks and they're like, oh, we're looking for the Statue of Liberty's arm. What is in the hands of the Statue of Liberty? And if you answer wrong, they're like, that's not the artifact we're looking for. And it's like, but I have the artifact in my hand. Like, don't you why am I answering questions when I have the physical artifact in my hands right now? So it, to an extent, it doesn't make any sense, right? But looking at the educational component of this and comparing it to Blue's Clues and Mrs. Spider's Tea Party, which one is more educational and fun? I would say, okay, that one was pretty good, but I would say Mario is Missing is going to give you more education in some of the things that it covers. It's more, it's more like, geography and like
it's
location based
about stuff. Like it's not knowledge. Like just because I now for the next 2 more hours from now will probably remember that there's 102 stories in the Empire State Building.
Well, did you know that Prometheus was looking over the rink at Rockefeller?
Yeah.
I didn't know this. I learned this today and Mario is Missing.
No, I didn't know.
Okay, I didn't either.
I didn't get that question.
Yeah, I got that question.
It was an experience that I remembered. I've seen several people that I watch on YouTube have made Mario is Missing videos. I feel like it's a pretty decent topic to explore, but it's probably been covered by enough people now that I don't know that anybody new will even make videos in the future on Mario is Missing, or if they've already all been said and done. But basically, when you're a child and you go into the Blockbuster, which I guess will never happen again either. And there's no way this game's ever going to get re-released for anything either. So, yeah, no, everybody in the future is protected from this experience. But when I was a child and I went into the Blockbuster looking for a game to rent, I was like, Mario, he's missing. I got to see what's going on here.
And
And then I got home and I
up.
never found out what was going on there because it was not a good game. It was not a good experience. It was a dupe.
Oh my God, I could just imagine you as there's no internet and phone for you to just kind of quickly jump on and be like,
Just
what's
Mario's
going on
missing.
here? What's about where's the manual for the game? No, it's literally a clamshell. It's a clamshell box. Yeah, it's a clamshell box. It's sitting on a shelf. You might have the manual, you might not. You probably didn't. So you can't even check it out, see what it's all about. The back of the box has Luigi and Mario's missing. Probably doesn't tell you much either, if at all. And then the Blockbuster clerk is just kind of laughing internally because he's older than you and knows it's garbage and you're going to rent it and be disappointed.
Right.
So that is actually a great story. I can't remember a time when I had a shitty game like that growing up.
Oh man,
from Blockbuster.
It was the worst. And see, that was an experience I'd had with Final Fantasy IX basically too, because I played the game and I got to a point where I didn't know where the door was that you had to walk towards the screen to go out of. And so I just never made it past the very intro part of the game.
You know, Ryan, I think back when I initially started this podcast, literally within episodes 1 through 5, I want to say, I played Silver Surfer. I believe. I don't remember if it was on a podcast, but I don't think you have played Silver Surfer. So I propose that next week we play Silver Surfer so we can just get 2 horrible games out of the way. And we'll have a good laugh over it. I think that's what we'll do.
All right. Well, let me finish talking about this one first.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So breaking it down to brass tacks, we're talking about the NES version today here, folks. That goes complete in box for $144.56. That's peaking right now in August 2023 and is trending up. You should have bought sooner. And then a loose copy will run you $31.52. That peaked at $31.83 back in February of 2023. That is also trending back up. Yeah, that's crazy. The most expensive version is the NES version, complete in box. And then the cheapest, it's like $12.94 loose on Super Nintendo. So that's where I mistakenly played it. That's the one I would recommend getting. I would never tell anybody to touch this game within $20 of a $31 poll.
So one cool thing about this game, though, to point out is that it's very much Super Mario World, actually.
No, it
is. Yes, it is.
It is an abomination.
No. So there are features in this game that are in Super Mario World, like Bowser's Castle, for example. The doors, that big red metal door, that's Super Mario World. Same style.
It uses assets. Yeah, basically.
It uses assets Super Mario World used assets of this game, I imagine. No. Didn't it? This came out on the NES. All right, we're going to Wikipedia this bastard.
It didn't chronologically come out. It came out at the same time. On both. All right. It was a simultaneous release. They downported it.
It came out in 1993.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're going to say Super Mario World. You're probably right, and I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Came out in... Come on, Wikipedia. You're supposed to open
92?
It up. Son of a bitch. Okay, so Super Mario World is an asset that is in Mario is Missing. That said, though, I still think it's pretty cool how they pulled in some of those pieces. And, I just realized I'm pretty sure I have Mario's Missing on Windows or Macintosh. I'm pretty sure. Too bad we can't play it on there, Ryan. We could have experienced both of them and seen
that one's very different.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
One of them is really different, and it has the Ouija is from there.
So let's look at. I'm just going to go over to development release stuff here really quick to kind of give a little more background here. So basically, Nintendo is trying to capitalize on educational games, which were popular at that time. So Ryan, you probably were enjoying educational games, and this one caught your attention very quickly. So Mario's Missing actually marks Luigi's first starring role in a video game, followed by the Luigi's Mansion series. So if you're looking from a historical standpoint, this is kind of noteworthy, Luigi being the star of the show and trying to find Mario. Let's see. They released the NES and SNES versions in June of 1993, and then by October they published the NES and SNES versions in Europe. So those people in Europe, if they bought it after seeing reviews in the United States, I don't feel sorry for them. To your point, SNES version used audio and visual assets from Super Mario World. And then the DOS version uses stretched out character animations, unlike the later versions. And then the last piece here is in the United States, the Software Toolworks released a Macintosh version on CD-ROM and floppy disk. That's a little plastic disk for people that don't know. It looks like a square. It's not actually like you can't see the disk. In 1994, under the title Mario's Missing CD-ROM Deluxe Edition, the new version included 127 QuickTime clips featuring 99 landmarks like the Golden Gate Bridge and the Great Wall of China. So you're right. It was different and it had a lot more going for it. So I would say, did you pull up the Mario's Missing Super Deluxe version? I'm kind of curious what the price point on that is. I got it up here. Mario is Missing.
There's no other versions. There's PC, Super Nintendo, NES is all that's on price trending.
Okay, so you can pick up a copy of this game for $21.50 on an outdated PC disc. Just keep that in mind. So I'm still with you. I wouldn't touch it with a $31 foot pole or whatever the hell you said. So loose copy, $12.94 SNES. I'm going to go ahead and say game is inflated on the Nintendo, obviously. And it's probably also inflated on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. This is 100%. Not a game worth owning.
I mean, it is if you got young kids.
No.
Guess what my son is going to play, Ryan?
Better games than this, I hope.
Oh, we got to all start somewhere. So it'll probably be, hey, you want to get good at platforming? We'll start at Mario's Missing. You'll get super angry at the quality of this game, and then we'll jump you right into Super Mario Bros. 2 because that's even worse. And then you can graduate and play Super Mario Bros. 1.
There you go. And do it right. The way we
do it right. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not really. Actually, I think that is kind of the way I did it. I played Mario 2 first. So, all right. Next week, it's Silver Surfer on the NES. We'll be recording in person, so we will get a live reaction that day. And should be fun.
Sounds good to me.
Yep. All right. This has been episode 247 of the Game Deflators Podcast. My name's Ryan.
And I'm John.
Thanks for listening.